If you're watching this channel, it's because you don't enjoy watching the world squander what Christendom built, but you want to do your part. And chances are you've heard me mention a great means by doing just that. Email made by and for Catholics. Check out fidei.email. That's FIDEI.email. Built for Catholic individuals, families, organizations, and groups. They're private, secure, and of course, they're Catholic. And they're offering 2 months off on your first year for an annual subscription if you enter the coupon code Return to Tradition without spaces. That's the name of this channel, without spaces, at checkout. There's been perhaps an odd turn of events in all this. The Vigano story is going and going and going and going. And we now have European media for the most part, but this will come to the American media very soon, turning on Archbishop Vigano and especially his supporters. Now, it's to be expected after he was quote-unquote excommunicated for having very valid suspicions about Pope Francis that the media would turn on him. That's to be expected. But they're also turning on those who support him. And they're going after the highest profile people first. And there's a reason for that. That's meant to demoralize people. But they're choosing a couple of very weird targets here. One of them is Mel Gibson, and the other is Jim Caviezel. Both of them are actually beloved. Mel Gibson's the only sedevacantist that people seem to give a pass to. Yes, he's a sedevacantist, a full-blown sedevacantist. Now, if he's recanted of that, and I just somehow missed that, please let me know in the comments. I will happily retract that, even though I have nothing against sedevacantists. I just don't agree with their position. But they also are going after Jim Caviezel. The two of those two men get along famously, even though they have very different views on life in the church, including Jim Caviezel being a full-blown supporter of Medjugorje. Now, that having been said, both of them have something in common aside from their common film work together, and that is that they express support for Archbishop Vigano. Jim Caviezel did so in the days after the extrajuridical trial against Vigano was announced, and then Mel Gibson wrote a letter to Vigano, and I have it here for you. But let's give you the headline from this article first, so you understand what we're talking about here. So, the article comes from katholisch.de. That is the official news arm of the German bishops. When you want the official line from the church, you go to some very trustworthy sources, in theory, if you're a normal Catholic who cares enough about what's going on to read this stuff, but not so much to really get into like the culture battles in the church. The headline from Katholisch is, "Excommunication is an honor. Mel Gibson supports Vigano." Even after the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith's guilty verdict, supporters are not leaving the side of the schismatic Carlo Maria Vigano. U.S. Director Mel Gibson even hopes to be expelled from the, quote, false church himself. Now, that's the rub. They're surprised that Vigano has not been completely alienated, and that tells me there's something going on here. You remember when this story first happened. They started the process against him in early May, which was right around the time that Vigano announced that he had proof of some kind that Pope Francis was, we'll say, cut from the same cloth as Ted McCarrick and engaged in some of the same evils as Ted McCarrick. By the way, Archbishop, if you were somehow seeing this would be a really good time to bring that evidence forward. Just suggesting it. But they're now going on after everybody who supports him, and there's a reason for that. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but they would not normally give any attention to these celebrities unless they're trying to send a message that you are next. Now, this isn't the most heavy-handed attack against them. It's actually fairly subtle. But again, when you have Mel Gibson's rather strident language put publicly out there, it will make people want to back off. You're seeing that already with Vigano himself, that a lot of people who liked him are just saying, he was wrong about Pope Francis, so I can't back him. There are a lot of people saying that. And now it's guilt by association. Interestingly enough, by the way, Mel Gibson's working on The Passion 2, which is supposed to be about the resurrection of our blessed Lord and the first several chapters of the book of Acts. And I suspect there's a lot of it involving the descent of our Lord to hell to save the souls of those who were the pious believers who believed as well as they could, but did not have, of course, access to Christianity or anything else, and who knew nothing about God. That's what the next film's about. So the timing's interesting. So let's go to the letter from Mel Gibson to Archbishop Vigano, as published by Aldo Maria Valli. This was published just a few days ago on his blog. I'll have a link to it in today's show notes at returntotradition.org. So, here is the message. Your messages on the Vigano affair, a badge of honor to be excommunicated from the false church, by Mel Gibson. Dear Archbishop, I'm sure you expected nothing else from Jorge Bergoglio. I know that you know he has no authority whatsoever, so I'm not sure how this will affect you going forward. I hope you will continue to say Mass and receive the sacraments yourself. It really is a badge of honor to be shunned by the false post-conciliar church. You have my sympathies that you suffer this grave injustice publicly. To me and many others, you are a most courageous hero. As always, you have hit the nail on the head regarding the illegitimacy of Francis. You express the core problems with the institution that has eclipsed the true church, and I applaud your courage in expressing that. But more than that, in maintaining fidelity to the true church. You are a modern-day Athanasius. I have all respect for the way you defend Christ and his church. I agree with you 100% that the post-conciliar church of Vatican II is a counterfeit church. This is why I built a Catholic church that only worships traditionally. You are welcome to come and say Mass there any time. Of course, being called a schismatic and being excommunicated by Jorge Bergoglio is like a badge of honor when you consider he is a total apostate and expels you from a false institution. Remember that true schism requires innovation, something you have not done, but something that Bergoglio does with every breath. He, therefore, is the schismatic. However, he had already ipso facto excommunicated himself by his many public heresies, see the Canon 188 in the 1917 Code of Canon Law. As you already know, he has no power to excommunicate you because he is not even a Catholic. So rejoice, I am with you, and I hope Bergoglio excommunicates me from his false church also. Bergoglio and his cohorts have the clothes and the building, but you have the faith. God bless and keep you. If you need anything, just ask. I will try my best to help. With admiration and undying respect, Mel Gibson. Not a subtle letter, I think. He saying he hopes he is himself excommunicated. Again, there is a sort of association building here now, right? They want you to believe that Archbishop Vigano is a full-blown sedevacantist. Until he says he believes Benedict XVI was an anti-pope heretic, or that John Paul II was an anti-pope heretic, I won't believe that he's a sedevacantist. And now they're trying to bring to your attention Mel Gibson and his rather well-known in traditionalist circles views of being a sedevacanist. Even though I did not see a single note of real sedevacantism in there. Yes, he called the Vatican II church a counterfeit church. I guess you could call that a actual sedevacantist view. It certainly seems to be a position that sedevacantists hold, but you know who else does that too? A lot of hardline, not a sedevacantist traditionalists do as well. And this is why I've been saying that this case will be the test for those of you who hold to the ape of the church thesis. That it comes from Catholic prophecy, was reiterated by Fulton Sheen and several others, that there would come a point where Satan would build a counterfeit church, the ape of the church. It would ape the Catholic Church. It would mimic the church. And it would build a false edifice around the Catholic Church, and inside it would dismantle Catholicism. It would fail in this endeavor, ultimately, after our Lord did promise that the gates of hell will not prevail. But it would fail to do so, but in the meantime, everyone would take this counterfeit church to be the Catholic Church. People debate whether that means Vatican II, or if that means, say, this synodal church they're building, that Francis and company are building. People debate this. But Vigano's case will be a very big test for people. Because the question you have to ask yourself is, can the Pope be the Pope of the ape and of the authentic Catholic Church at the same time? People debate that as well. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, actually, so let me know in the comments. Do you believe that a Pope can be both the Pope of the ape of the Church and the Catholic Church at the same time? I'm not entirely sure what I think on that myself. It's not an easy question to answer. But we explore that question here on this channel, so we'll come to an answer at some point. But I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments, please. Hey, like and subscribe if you haven't. It certainly helps, as does sharing this on social media. That helps too. And as always, pray for the Church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.